I've got something which is going to make my water changes even faster. So I've been sent something which is really going to help me speed up my water changes, and I've been sent this item by a company called AQQA. So they've reached out to me on my socials and asked if I wanted to do a collaboration. So as you've seen in my other videos, I've done some collaborations with Haiger, and I thought it'd be really cool just to do another collaboration with another company. So like I say, this is AQQA. They are a company which was founded in 2020 by a group of aquarium enthusiasts who wanted to create lots of different aquarium equipment which was cost effective and easily accessible. So they've sent me a water pump today. So they've sent me this, which is the submersible water pump. So this is the 15 watt version. So they do various different versions from as low as 5 watt all the way up to 55 watt. This is the 15 watt version. Now there's two reasons why I wanted to try this out today. So if you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know that I am in the process of getting a bigger tank, or the largest tank I'm going to have. And with that tank, it's likely that I'm going to have to do a lot of water changes. So I am considering getting an African cichlid tank, possibly an Mbuna tank. And with those, you need to overfiltrate and also do a lot of water changes. So I thought, well, it'd be a good point to start with a water pump system, which is really going to speed things up. I'll be putting this to the test today on this tank, which is my 100 litre Tetra community tank, just to see how it performs. Now, I believe that, well, this is according to the listing for this on Amazon. By the way, this is a sponsored video, so if you're interested in purchasing this, I'll leave all the links in the description. So based on the description on Amazon, this can be used with as little as 1 centimetre of water. So if you had a bare bottom tank, for example, this could drain the water out to 1 centimetre, which is really, really good actually. In addition to that, it's also got a no burnout motor. So if it does run dry, it will shut itself off. So, which is a really cool feature to have on any water pump. So we'll just give this a quick unboxing just to see what's in there. So we've got our instruction manual, which I usually don't bother, but we might have to refer back to that. We've got our plug, so obviously this is the UK plug, so it's got the UK one there. And here is the pump. So as I say, this is the 15 watt version. So it's quite small, and of course it's got the branding on there, AQQA. You can also attach some suction cups. So like I say, if you're using a bare bottom tank, or actually when I put the water back in this tank, you'll see what I'm going to do. But those suction cups will come in really handy for that. And then on the top there is a hole for your hose to go into. So you get a couple of attachments here. So we'll just have a quick look at which ones we've got. These are going to be for different sized pipes. So we've got two different sizes there. I think one will be for a 12 mil and one's probably for a 16 mil. So we'll try the smaller one first. We'll just attach that. I think the smaller one's probably going to be okay. And then we'll just attach these suction cups as well. As I say, these suction cups won't be needed for the first part of this, getting the water out of the tank. But when we go to put the water back in the tank, you'll see why they're important. There we go. So we've got those suction pads just fastened there. So in addition to that, there is also a flow control just here. So it's like a little slide. So you can slide it there between sort of low flow and maximum flow. I know a lot of companies do these pumps, but of course on this occasion, it is AQQA who have sent me this. So it's fair, obviously, for me to tell you what I like about this. And of course, I'll be honest as well, if there's anything I don't like about this, I will also tell you guys as well. So what I have been using to take the water out of this tank is a sort of a homemade siphon, if you like. So we've just got some tube in here. And then what I've been using, that's all tangled, what I've been using is an intake strainer. Now this is from an Eheim filter, which I've got. So obviously I've taken the intake strainer off and put it on here with a little ball valve here. And what I've been doing is I've been placing this in the aquarium, opening the valve and then sucking on the other end of the tube, which creates a siphon, which is fine and it's been working extremely well. But of course it does take quite a while because I'm relying solely on gravity to remove the water from the tank. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to drop the pump inside the tank. Now, I would say that probably with tanks that you only have very small fish in, I'm not saying this would be a good idea because they could potentially get sucked into the bottom of the pump, but that goes for any pump really. With this tank, I think we're going to be fine because the fish are generally a good size, so I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. So I'm going to drop the pump inside the tank, and then I'm going to run the hose outside, and we will turn it on and see how quickly it removes the water from the tank. Firstly, I've got to get this jumper off because it's boiling in the UK at the moment. Okay, so I've given the glass a quick little scrub. So we're going to put this to the test. So I'm just going to lower the pump inside. Probably about there is going to be plenty, I think. I don't want to take too much water out. So I think that's going to be about right. So obviously I won't plug it in just yet, otherwise we'll have a flooded living room. I'll just run this tubing outside. Okay, so moment of truth, let's get it plugged in and we'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer actually and see how long it takes to take out the amount of water which I want. You can see there the water's just draining and it's going through this tubing and it's currently being emptied outside at the moment. So yeah, it's coming out at a pretty good rate there. So let's see how long it takes. So that's just taken around about almost 2 minutes. I don't know if you can see that. It's nearly 2 minutes now. And that is down to pretty much the sort of level which I would usually take it down to. So, I mean, 2 minutes to get the water out is really quick. And we'll just get this taken out of the tank now. So it's always good to have a bucket just to hand, just to drop that in, because obviously there will be a lot of water coming out of it. So I would say that's probably, I mean, this is a 100-litre tank, so I would say that's probably taken out about, I'd say 20%, maybe 25%. And it did that in just over 2 minutes, which, you know, if you're rushing, I mean, the first thing I should point out really is that I know there's a lot of people who don't do water changes. Obviously, I'm not one of those people. I do like to do water changes on a weekly basis. But, you know, I appreciate that family life gets in the way. It can take time if you've got multiple tanks. You know, it's time consuming, so you want things to make it as quick as possible really for you. So, like I said, 2 minutes, that's great. So what we need to do now is get the water back in the tank just as fast as we took it out. So I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so to get the water back in the tank, we're going to do something a little bit different. So do you remember this from earlier with the little ball valve on it and the intake strainer? So we're going to reattach this to one end of the hose and put the other end of the hose onto the water pump. So obviously with this, just make sure it's in the closed position, which it is. I'm going to reattach the hose to it. Just make sure we get a good connection on that. There we go, so that can go back over there. So we're going to get our pump and we're just going to reattach the other end of the tube to it, like so. And then using those suction cups, we're just going to place them in the bucket here and just firm it down against the bottom of the bucket so that they don't move. We've got our cable plugged in there to the wall outlet, but not currently turned on. So what I do at this point is I will just get the mixer ready and I'll just sort of feel the temperature really, just make sure I can get the same temperature as what's in the tank, which is about 25 degrees. I usually just do this by feel, to be perfectly honest. We're not replacing that much of the water, so we can be a little bit under or a little bit over. It's always better to be a little bit cooler, I think, than a little bit warmer. Okay, and we'll just let that bucket fill up. And what we'll do is we'll just take the other end of our hose and we'll just walk along to the aquarium. And at the moment, just because I'm not ready to turn it on yet, I will just hang this on the edge of the aquarium, making sure again that the ball valve is in the off position. And we'll just drop that in there like that. So at this point, before I do anything, before I start the water coming back into the tank, I'll always add my dechlorinators as standard. So we're going to go straight in with the NT Labs Optimus. I'm going to drop in some NT Labs Status, which is a bacteria booster. Don't have to add this, but I always put it in anyway. So go half a cap on that as well. And then some plant food. Now normally I would put in Easy Life Pro Phyto. Don't have any at the moment, so I'm going to have to use this API Leaf Zone. And we're going to put in a full cap of that. Like so. So what I do is I turn the tap on and I just let the water overflow the bucket while the pump's running. That just ensures that we've got a constant flow of water to go back in our tank, and so the pump doesn't run dry. Now, I'm not going to be testing it out in this video because I trust AQQA that, you know, a lot of research and money has been spent in developing this product, but I do believe that if it does run dry, it will shut off. So I trust them on that. I'm not going to put it to the test in this video just because I want to get the water back in the aquarium, really. And again, I just want to see that, you know, how quickly it can get that water back in there. So I'm just going to open this valve now, which you should hear the air release. And that should start filling the tank up. And here it comes. There you go. So I'll leave that filling up just for a minute. We'll just run back quickly and just check the temperature's okay still. Okay, we'll just quickly set a little timer as well. So we'll reset that and we'll go start. And we'll just see how long that takes just to fill that back up. So just while we're waiting for that to refill, I just wanted to say a couple of things about what you could do with this pump. So at the moment I use some smart plugs from Amazon just to control my lights, just with a simple on-off. You could do the same with this pump. You could attach it to a smart plug, have it on your phone, and just press the start button when you're ready to start and stop it. It's a real sort of cool feature you could have. Now, don't get me wrong, there are water change kits out there. You could buy the Python kit. You could just use a manual siphon like I have been doing. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that with family life and everything and work life, I mean, obviously us YouTubers, we don't all do this full time. I have a normal job as well. It's not always possible to come home and sort of dedicate, you know, hours upon hours of time to maintain the aquariums. Obviously, when I've got the time, absolutely, I will put the time in. But sometimes, you know, so you don't miss that water change, you really want to get that water out and get the new water in as quickly as you can. And if you could do that in 10, 15 minutes, it's going to save you so much time. And I think that's where the beauty of these pumps really come in. Now, like I say, you could use any pump. Lots of companies do them. On this occasion, and the fact that it's got the extra features like it can pump as little as 1 centimetre of water, and it's got the flow control and things like that, I think that this is a really good pump that you can have. So we're nearly at the top now, so that's been nearly 2.5 minutes again. So with the time it took to get the water out, the time it took to get the water in, obviously there was a little bit of time with messing around with the hose and things like that, which adds to it, but we're probably looking at about 10 minutes so far. There we go, our tank has been water changed to about 25%, refilled back up, and the time it took with the pump we've been using was, if you just take it from getting the water out, getting the water back in, around 5 minutes to remove that much water. So, you know, when the time's right for me to get my bigger tank, which I'm looking at getting maybe a 230 litre tank, something like that, to take out that much water, you know, I'm looking at probably 10 minutes to do that. And that is going to save me so much time and allow me to, you know, ensure that I can get those water changes done. So we'll just take this out now, and then I'll bring you back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay everyone, so as you just saw there, to change the water on this tank took me, all in all, less than 10 minutes. So when it comes to water changing, you know, even if you have very limited time, there's no excuse. You know, you can do it really quickly and you can fit it in around your schedule or schedule wherever you're from. So of course there's lots of different companies that do these water pumps. AQQA were very kind to sponsor this video and send this one to me. So of course I'm going to say good things about this pump. But I wouldn't say them if I didn't believe them. And from what I've seen, this pump was, I mean, very quiet to start with, like extremely quiet. You know, even when it was in the tank, I wasn't even sure it was turned on. So that's a bonus straight away. You've got the flow control, so you can have it faster and slower. I was actually running this on the fastest. Yeah, I was on the fastest setting, but as I said, this is a 15 watt version. They do go all the way up to 55 watt. So, you know, if you've got bigger tanks and you've got that on max flow, that water's going to come out extremely fast. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're interested, I'll leave all the links in the description. It's made my life easier, and maybe it could help you out as well. You know, I probably won't go back to doing it the way I was doing it. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, to be honest, to use a sort of overflowing the bucket method with a pump. I've just never really got around to it, to be fair. And yeah, I'm just grateful that AQQA sent this to me. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.